Good evening, curling fans, and welcome to the 2025 Newfoundland and Labrador Men's Tankard. We're broadcasting live from the Remax Center. It's the St. John's Curling Club, and it's Draw 2 action of this Men's Tankard. Our feature game is on Ice 3, and the teams in this game are Team Corey Schuh, representing the Remax Center, and Team Dave Thomas out of the Gateway Curling Club in Port aux Basques. In the broadcast booth tonight, it's Steve Sporty Bragg, alongside three-time Newfoundland Tankard champion, Mr. Mark Nosley. Mark, we've got Mr. Thomas here against Corey Schuh. What do you expect to see here tonight?
Well, both Thomas had a big win this afternoon against Kenny Pettigrew. So I expect that they've already got their feet wet. And I would think we all know how strong Schuh and them can play. So I think we're going to be in for a treat tonight and see a pretty tight game here.
Mark, it's going to be an interesting tankard this year for the first time since 2019. It's a triple knockout. So as we get deep into the week, every game matters. We're going to see teams that are playing for their respective lives. So it's going to be an exciting week down here at the Remax Center.
I know it's a bit of a cliche, Steve, but every rock counts, every end is a battle. So I expect it's a pretty even field. A couple of teams that might be considered favorites in that, but the field is still pretty tight. So I think you're going to see probably a few upsets along the way. A lot of really tight games and some good curling or ice here. The ice here in the Remax Center is pretty good. Bit of curl and it's fairly quick. And there's a lot of good players out there, good sweepers. So you'll see a lot of nice rocks being made.
Yeah, we played last night, Mark, over there on Ice 4, and the ice was really good. Lots of good curl, as you suggest, a lot of speed. And right out of the blocks here, we're going to see some action. Floyd Francis threw up the center guard, and Corey Schuh opted not to throw the corner guard. He came right in, and his lead, Mike Mosher, put it right on the top of the lid.
This one's got to curl a little bit. The weight doesn't seem too bad coming in. Looks like it's starting to get a bit of movement here now. He doesn't want to bounce off it. He needs to be in front of it somewhere. And looks like a pretty nice rock.
It's a great rock by Mike Mosher. We were just commenting before the broadcast. Mike is probably one of the best leads around the province. He's been playing that position for a long time. He really enjoys playing that position. And he's here about to throw his second rock of the first end.
Yeah, Mike comes in with a lot of experience at that position. And I agree, Sporty, I think he's one of the better leads in the island. He's very, very consistent at a fairly high level. The line on this looks pretty good. Gotta make sure they get it right on top of that yellow one. Starting to take off on him a little bit here now, but it still looks like it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, Mark. And
Yep.
right out of the blocks, we got a lot of rocks in play. And just before that Mosher rock, Floyd Francis did put that rock in the top 4. Floyd never began curling until he was 50 years old. So he started when he was a baby senior, as you would call it.
Yeah, well, he's a pretty good player, and starting anything at 50 is not easy.
He has adapted well, though, as you said, Mark. He's playing a lot of these provincial championships, and he finds himself here after winning their first game in the 2025 Newfoundland Tankard.
Yeah, I think when you're starting that late, I think if you keep yourself in good physical condition, you got a much better chance of being successful. So obviously, he probably works out and watches his diet and everything else, and that's what you get.
I could probably learn a thing or two from him in that regard.
Well, some people just drive by the gym and wonder why they don't get a benefit.
Anyway, a nice shot there by Cody Parsons
Yep,
to the top 4, and we've got an interesting end setting up here, Mark.
You can see the benefit of when teams shoot rocks before the game. There hasn't been a draw missed. I know we're only 5 rocks into it, but everybody's been right where they got to be. So he wants to get just on nose. Is it maybe a little on the high side here? And he might be able to get the 2 yellows out.
I think he can, Mark. If he gets it just, like you said, on the high side, hits it right in the pocket there, he might be able to get rid of both of them.
He's not throwing a ton of weight, so he's trying to keep his back one too. Nope, that's not a bad shot. Got him off to 1 foot. He's going to leave a double for Dave Thomas, which he's probably going to play. Hit that a little bit on the high side, double off the blues.
Mark, one thing about Dave Thomas, I've watched a lot of his games in these provincials, and we played against him. He is not afraid to leave a lot of rocks in play. He likes the draw game, and he's not afraid to get aggressive.
Well, he likes a lot of rocks and play, and they're they don't play a lot on they don't play much on tour or whatever. They just play around the island a bit. So experience might be a little tempered, but they make a ton of shots. And I do agree, Sporty is a little fearless on the strategy. But sometimes, even if it might not be the absolute best call, when you're making all those shots, it works out. And they're not an easy game. You got to play pretty well to beat those guys. That was a bit of a miscue there by Parsons. He must have hung it a little wide. I thought Thomas, for the weight that he wanted, was probably fairly generous.
So Corey's looking for his second here, Spencer Wicks, to make the hit and roll in there, Mark, to try to lie. He'll be line 2 undercover with that third one on the top 8 as well, which would be fourth shot if he made
He
the
can
roll.
get in behind and freeze on top of his own blue, and they have the hammer. They got something going here. This is going to be close. This is going to be close. Probably just over curl here at the end. That was so close to being an absolute beauty. But there's a bit of an out here now for the Dave Thomas rink.
Yeah, David's debating here whether they hit this mark or even see maybe talk about a freeze. But I think with that ice, is he looking maybe at a board weight type thing with a hit and
I
flop
don't
in?
think you want to hit and roll in here, because you might, if you don't roll perfectly, it might leave them a double. If you hit that on the nose, I don't think there's a double there.
I'm not.
Maybe if you just roll, if you can get to that face of the blue one, maybe roll like an inch inside. There's still no double. If you go after it, you might only jam it on your back one. Like it's the first things first. They got to make this now. It's a big shot by Mike Mullins here.
The ice was curling a lot last night, Mark, and with that ice, he's not throwing a ton of weight here.
No, just down weight, which is the way I think the proper way to play this shot, because the roll is so important.
Really working it to keep it straight, Mark.
Ooh. I think that just over curled a little bit on him.
He did remove that rock that he was playing, but of course, as you said, it over curled. He rolled over to the back 8, and I think Corey's going to hit that yellow now to lie 3.
Yeah, I think he rolled too far. He rolled his only fourth shot. He was hoping to lie 1, 2. So the door, they never slammed the door on the Schuh squad here. That's nice opening here. I think Schuh indicated he wants to roll to the edge of the 8-foot.
I think so, Mark.
If he rolls inside, he's going to be behind the button, and then one great draw by Mike Mullins, and
it's end over. You've given up your chance to score.
Your big end is gone. Yeah. This goes. They're on off this one. Can't tell really from the line from our angle.
He's trying to make a curl at the end. Mark Spencer's working that. It might roll too far, and it is going to roll out.
He might have hung. He never. The ice looked pretty good to me, but I think he maybe. Kelly might have hung that a hair wide, and it just tracked on him down that side, down that ridge.
So Corey is still lying 2, it looks like, but Mike is going to try to pull one in here behind the center guard and that blue in the top 8. I think Dave called for pretty much to come right in, Mark, to the button. Even if you freeze that back one,
you don't have to make this perfect. As long as you're edge on edge with that blue one in the 8-foot, and you're in front of the back blue one, you can't get it out without jamming it anyway. But now this got a lot of line. Starting to come on him, starting to curl here now. This could be a great rocket. They got to get it by. They got to get it by. Looks like a pistol by Mike Mullins.
That's pretty good, Mark. Even though he came to the back rock, he's really shrunk the scoring area now. And that's going to be a hard rock to get out of there for Corey.
You're not looking at Schuh line 2 or 3 anymore. Now they're going to try to freeze on it and lie 1. Absolutely. He probably doesn't even want to freeze on it. He wants to be shot rock, but in the top part of the 1 foot.
That was a big shot by Mike Mullins. I asked Cody Parsons earlier who his favorite curler was, and he said Mike Mullins, also known as the Juggernaut. So it must be an inside joke.
Yeah, I guess that's what you call a close-knit team. And just trying to get this to bend a bit here.
It's going to have to move, Mark. It might bounce off.
It might bounce off. Oh, there you go. Just a pound heavy on that one.
So it looks like Dave is still shot rock, Mark, I believe.
Yeah.
So I like that call. Come right in, top four, top
Yeah.
button.
I'd like to draw too.
I don't think there's any need to hit that that one on the back 4 foot, the blue one. That's almost helping you to a certain degree.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a wall behind there.
He wants to be in front of the tee line. So, you know, we're down the skips rocks here in the first end. And there hasn't been much in the way of missed shots. A couple of rocks never quite curled quite enough, or one curl a little too much, but everything's been pretty close in this first end here.
So, Mark, you mentioned earlier that Dave Thomas did win his first game. They beat Ken Pettigrew. It was a tight game, 6-6, and then Dave rattled off a 5-ender in the ninth end to go on to the 11-6 victory.
I was looking at the online score board earlier during that game, and the 5 sort of jumps right off the board at you. Now they're working this one hard. I don't know if this got the legs to get there.
Yeah, Mark, they're really working it. It looks like it is light.
Well, there's still shot rock at the back. But there might be he might be able to come off his own blue one. I don't know how much is going to occur. We haven't seen many down on the intern side here. And I think the outside yellow is behind. I don't know.
The ice he's taking, Mark, I feel like he's
playing a heater. He's coming off his own and trying to come across the top of the back blue one and knock the yellow one sideways up. There you go. You can see where he's trying to sweep it. That's what they're doing here now. If he makes it, it keeps the big end alive.
It does, and Corey has a propensity to be able to throw these big weight hits. He's a really good hitter, so it didn't take him long to
throw pretty firm. But you got to get inside of this.
They're working to keep that straight, Mark. He might have missed it.
No, I think he hit it too thin.
Just a shade too thin.
Now there's nothing on the intern there now for Corey on his next shot, but now Dave Thomas can get around what he just threw again.
I think, Mark, if he comes around that staggered rock on the top 12 and the top 8 and he puts it right there where they're putting the room, he's got a real good chance to steal 2 here in this end.
Well, you know, you got to assume after just coming up 5 or 6 feet short on the first one, if he adds just a little bit to it and he gets by and stops like on the 1 foot, Schuh's going to have a tough time scoring.
I don't think there's any other shot, Mark. I think that's the pro shot, is to come right in there where they're tapping that broom.
Now, Dave's only taken a hair more ice, but now he was probably a little short on the first one.
Mark, as Dave goes to throw his last rock of the end here, there are 3 other games going on this evening as part of this 2025 Newfoundland Tankard, and we'll do our best to update you during the broadcast. So, Mark, from what I've seen, this ice looks pretty quick out there tonight so far.
Yeah, we'll get a couple of times on it now in the next end, but it doesn't look like it's heavy in any way, shape, or form. This line looks pretty good to me coming down the sheet here. It's all weight. They're working hard on it.
Yeah, it looks really good, Mark. If he's got the right weight, this looks really good.
That's an absolute pistol, buddy. You couldn't walk down and lay it there any better.
It is, and as I said earlier, now Dave's put himself in a position to potentially steal 2. What a great shot by Dave Thomas.
Pistol. Well, the Schuh squad had, excuse me, they had a chance to get out of this. And I know Schuh played that long double and hit it too thin on his first rock. My own personal preference, I would have liked to play this shot and Corey's shot, come around that Dave did. Because even if he makes that on his first one, Dave Thomas still got this shot. And if he makes it, you can't get it out. So to make sure you score.
So it looks like he's playing that angle raise mark on the one in the top 8, probably without ice, probably about a board.
Tough shot just to get one.
It is a very tough shot, absolutely.
Because you can probably only see, from our vantage point, probably no more than a quarter, if that.
So, Mark, this is a big shot in this first end. Mike is working it to make it curl. It's pretty close, I think.
I'm not sure who scored. I think it's going to be, it's only one for whoever scored. I don't think there's a steal of two.
No, and by the reaction from Spencer and Mike with the brooms in the air, I kind of believe that Corey did make that shot and may have gotten one.
If he scored one, that was an excellent curling rock by Corey Schuh.
So, Mark, we'll find out who scored that point. We'll take 30 seconds, and we'll be right back for second end action. And welcome back. We're broadcasting Draw 2 of the 2025 Newfoundland and Labrador Men's Tankard. And Mark, in that first end, Corey Schuh made that nice angle raise. He did, in fact, get 1 point. So Team Schuh leads 1-0 over Team Thomas as we play the second end.
Yeah, that was an excellent curling rock to score one. It was not an easy shot. Probably could only see a quarter or less than a quarter of a rock he had to promote, and have just enough weight to push Dave Thomas's stone to the back of the 4-foot. So it was a very nice shot. Anyway, we mentioned that before the game, that's the kind of game we expect to see. And I'm sure the second end is going to bring more highlight shots. So we're off again. Here we go.
And Mark, just to, we didn't introduce the teams in the first end, so out of the Gateway Curling Club, it is Team Dave Thomas. He's the skip. Mike Mullins at third, Cody Parsons at second, and Floyd Francis is the lead. And Corey Schuh plays out of the Remax Center. It's Corey Schuh at skip, Kelly Schuh at third, Spencer Wicks at second, Mike Mosher at lead, and their alternate is Sean O'Leary.
Lots of experience out there.
So, Mark, we've got the two center guards up there. Mike Mosher just came around and put one pretty much full 8, and Dave initially called for the draw to come in. Now they're having a chat about it.
I think you need to play the draw, but Floyd Francis, he's going up against Mosher. He's got to put up a big game because Mosher is a solid player. So the first two lead rocks are so critical on how the end is going to pan out. So if these leads are going at it head to head and shot for shot, it should be a beauty game. It's all about controlling that control zone, which goes from the top of the 4-foot, about 1.5 feet wide of the center line, and out extends about 6 feet from that point. And whoever controls that area is generally who's going to score. I think looks like I gotta bounce a little bit. Okay, that's their sporty is one of my pet peeves. Bounce in the open, the other guy can come down, hit, and roll back in, and all it got to be is a foot shorter, and that can't happen.
And all of a sudden, if that roll is made, Mark, you're lying two behind cover, and the other team
Still can't hit.
You're chasing.
Yeah,
exactly.
and they'll be chasing the whole game without some kind of double peel.
Mark, for the viewers out there who don't watch a lot of curling, we are playing the free guard zone, so that's the first 5 rocks at the end. You can't hit if they're out front, in front of the house. And the new rule, I think that came in last year, is that if the rock is on the tee line, on the center line, you can't remove that at all. If it gets removed, it has to be put back there. And they're working this to get by the guard right now, Mark, and it looks like they did and will have that roll.
Well, Team Schuh is off to a very good start here. Dave Thomas knows he's in trouble, and he's going to try to get something moving. The slashes across the blue one and get the blue coming back, just to try to rearrange the angles here a bit and open it all up.
It's a great shot by Spencer Wicks. Spencer actually just got married in October, so
did he?
congratulations to him and his new bride, Heather. Yeah. So the good news is he got married. The bad news is he's a Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
I can't account for bad to see.
So Dave tried to take that center guard off, Mark, and he has gotten rid of the center. There's still a couple of guards up front, though, and Corey's going to fire up another one to try and cover those two blue in the top 8.
Well, the only good thing about those two blues, even though Schuh team is going to guard on it, if Dave Thomas' team can ever get in behind him or staggered, they put him in a good position, but he might not get that draw is pretty tough on the intern. It all depends where this guard ends up anyway. Well, that guard looks like it's going to overcurl somewhat. Looks like the line's a little bit tight here already.
It does look a little tight, Mark.
Never got much finish there. It's probably partly open. I think if you see a half, you try to make the double.
Looks like, though, Dave is opting for the run back,
which is okay, too. If you make it, you're going to roll your shooter over, so you have 3 guards on one side of the sheet. I think you got that out. To me, like you got it a little wide here. Well, there we go. A little bit of tick wicky.
Not a terrible result, Mark. I guess Dave does have the hammer, and now he's opened up the access to the corner guard.
Knocking that yellow rock in there, putting that in the rings, it forces Schuh to hit it. Even if he rolls, it opens up the double and the 2 blues. And the roll off that, you're going to roll a little bit lower than the high blue one. You might even line up triple. So even though they never got what they wanted, Dave Thomas's team on that last rock, the end result is it probably changed the whole complexity of how this end is going to pan out.
And maybe at some point Dave gets to use that corner guard, Mark. They're working it hard. I don't think there's a triple there, Mark, but...
well, I think to get the triple, you got to come off the one on the right-hand side.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fairly flat. Yeah, you can play it either way. It all depends how you're trying to line up your end for the next couple of shots. If you're Dave Thomas, you want to try to put a 2-ender on the board, you have the hammer.
I don't mind playing the single one there, Mark, because you got a lot to roll to go over and potentially make 2 over there.
I think I would prefer to play on the 2 on the left-hand side first.
And he has opted to play on the 2 rocks, Mark.
I don't know if looks like it's starting to curl on him a bit. He crossed it a bit. Really not what they wanted. They wanted to roll that. If they hit it on the other side of the center of the rock, that yellow ends up between the 2 red, which is not bad. Schuh's going to hit, probably stay right there.
So, Mark, obviously Corey would like to get the force, and if he can hit this, he'll be lying 3, and he may be
He'll be
well
happy.
along to get the force.
He'd be happy with a force high game, get the hammer back, try to put a deuce up. Thing here, you got to make sure you keep the shooter in the ring somewhere. They're working on it hard here. I don't know if that's line a little narrow, but okay, that's okay there. And the triple is definitely there now. Played out the one on the right hand side. Come off the top of the one on top of the 4 foot, and you go up. You're looking at about a quarter rock.
I think you're right, Mark. You're talking about playing the open one on the right-hand side as we view it, and almost like an around-the-clock sort of thing.
Around the horn.
Around the horn, yes. So this is a big opportunity for Mike Mullins, Mark, to maybe be able to clean this up, and they might be able to get the blank and move on to the third end with hammer.
Well, we'll see what happens here now. Haven't made a room to it here yet. They're just trying to get it to curl here now.
I think it's
okay. Looks like you got made a double. I think you had to curl a little bit more to make that triple, but Schuh's got to play on his own.
It's a pretty good shot, Mark, because he's grouped those two stones together, and after this rock, when Corey makes this, if he makes it, those two blues are probably going to be pretty close, and there might be a double.
Well,
it's
a tough rock to get some separation on because you want to make sure you're lying two, because he wants to keep the force on. If it over curls a bit and he hangs it on the high side, they're going to be grouped very close together. If it curls a little bit, you might be able to get some separation, but you're probably going to leave some kind of a double. But the main thing is, let's lie two first and see how it works out. The other guys, however they end up, the other guys still got to make the double if you are lying two. So the main thing here is to hit and stay.
So Corey's no stranger to the big moments, Mark. He was part of that team that won the 2011 Canadian University Championships. Colin Thomas, Spencer Wicks, and Chris Ford as well. And those championships were right here at the Remax Center.
Well, trying to get this one to curl. He must have hung it. The ice, never much ice. He must have got a little wide on that. So Thomas is getting out of trouble here. They've been all in working to this point now.
You're absolutely right, Mark. We were talking about the three rocks being there, and they were facing three at one point, but they've been able to bounce back, and now the blank is definitely in play. And if Dave Thomas were somehow to be able to make a cross-house roll here in behind that corner, he might give himself a chance for two.
Quite possible. And if you don't make the roll, Schuh got a chance to roll into force. And if he doesn't make it, he's still got a blank opportunity. So a couple options of how this end can work out.
Mark, that's a good comment because at this late juncture in the end, are you happy just to hit that roll to the open side further? You could try and take the blank.
If you hit and stay there, or even roll to the left-hand side, you're telling the other guys that you're happy with the blank. But the thing here is you want to make sure you're in the rings with your shooter. You don't want to roll out, but it looks like this got a bit of curling to do. And he's not going to stay in the ring, so it's going to give Schuh an opportunity to get around that corner guard. One good draw. You don't even have to be completely buried. That puts a bit of squeeze on the Thomas team just to get one. But the blank is going to be off, assuming that he can put it in the rings here. And I assume that's going to happen.
Mark, as Corey goes back here to throw this last rock, just going across the sheet very quickly. On ice 1, Simon Perry has a 2-0 lead on Andrew Simmons as they play the second end. On ice 2, Greg Smith is up 1-0 on Kenny Saunders as they play the second. And on ice 6, looks like Ty DeLello is up 1-0 on Nathan Young as they play the second.
Schuh's rock is coming down here. The boys are sort of being just on off a little bit, so it must be half close. He's getting by the guard with a lot of room. I think he's going to end up being totally open or pretty close to it. I think he might have had too much ice. Great draw. Wait, puts it on the tee line. I'm going to give Dave Thomas a blank opportunity here to retain the hammer. There's been a couple of rocks down here that triple attempt by Mike Mullins sort of ran a little bit on them. And this one by Schuh, it looked to me like he was pretty good up the stick when he let it go, and he still got by the guard by a foot. So maybe it's not swinging quite as much here as they think. I think that's what Dave Thomas was just talking about with Mike Mullins before he left the head.
So you're right, and Dave is playing that same turn, so he's going to have to be careful here that he doesn't get this out a little. Wants to make sure that he gets the blank.
They're screaming at us.
They're working it hard, Mark, to avoid the plug, which I think they may get. It's going to be close.
Oh. It's amazing, Sporty, how 2 round rocks hit square. One of those physics problems.
You're right, and I was never good at physics, I can tell you that.
Question for the ages.
On that, Mark,
I'm sure some of our technical staff could figure it out.
I know I couldn't.
We'd have to ask the producer and the director now for tonight's broadcast if they know the answer.
We can talk about that during the break. We're going to take 30 seconds, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're broadcasting live from the 2025 Newfoundland Tankard, and it's Draw 2 action of this 2025 Tankard. We're in the third end of this second round game, and it's Team Dave Thomas 1, Team Corey Schuh 1. In the broadcast booth tonight, it's Steve Sporty Bragg alongside Mark Noseworthy.
Well, the game's been pretty tight so far, and we're into the third end here now, and there's a guard up, and Dave Thomas are looking to draw around, top the 4 foot. Not a bad shot. Probably the better part exposed, but Schuh's going to play on it. Probably enough room where the guard's a bit longer. Play hack weight or something. They might be able to get a little inside roll on that.
Yeah, Mark, that's a pretty long guard. So absolutely, I think with the hack to board weight, although it's pretty tight ice, they're looking at that roll underneath.
Team's got good sweepers, so they can the ice can be a little tighter. Sometimes you put the broom down now, and a lot of curves they walk down. They got that little pop and release.
Mark, the workingness to get the curl. Kelly hasn't left the rock the entire time.
Yeah, just down weight, not to push it through. Pretty close to hack weight.
So Dave's going to go up there and make the hit and lie to once again. Keep the pressure on Corey Schuh. Mark, I was talking to Cody Parsons there earlier. He was telling me that curling season can be tough because he's a marine engineer and he spends a month on and a month off offshore. So he's all in when he's on land, but when he's out offshore, it's obviously hard to throw a few rocks.
Yeah, no doubt.
But he's thrown a nice one there and hit and flopped to the outside, and now Team Dave Thomas lies too. Mark, so we are playing the Tankard here. This is day one of the Tankard. Tomorrow the Scotties, Newfoundland Ladies Scotties starts. So we're going to have full sheets of action going here, all 6 sheets at the Remax Center. If you're a curling fan out there and you want to see some high-caliber curling, you want to come down to the Remax Center this week. Admission is free, and you're going to see some of the best curlers in the province play at a very high level.
I agree with that assessment there, Sporty. And like I said, the ice conditions are good. We got good players, and it should be a good week of curling for the fans and the people that are down watching and here in the club and online.
And from a Tankard perspective, Mark, it's always very interesting, and it has been the last number of years, with Brad continuing to win Briars. I think he has 6 now. When Brad is not in the field here, I mean, obviously he's one of the best teams in the world. And when he's not here, the field can be wide open, and there are a number of teams that can win this Tankard this week.
Absolutely. It's like you said, I don't think there's one team completely dominant here. I have my own opinions on who I think are here and a small bit better than one team or another team or whatever. But there's not a great distinction, and that's what keeps the competition close.
The other fact that keeps the competition close is the recently reunited Team Mark Noseworthy is not playing in the Tankard this week.
Well, that's what it gives everybody a chance.
We'll have a good road trip out to Corner Brook, though, and give it a run out there.
We'll have to wait and see what happens there, Sporty. That looks pretty good here. That's a good phrase. That's a very nice shot by Kelly Schuh.
Kelly actually doesn't live here in the province. He lives, I believe, in London, Ontario, but he's down here for the Tankers. Of course, the new rules allow to have an import, and I think that's Kelly's mom who's confirming that fact for me, but yes, he does live in London, Ontario, and he's down here and wants to represent his team Newfoundland here in the Briar.
Well, they did get to a couple of juniors out of Newfoundland when they were both junior curlers. They were down there at the time going to Memorial, I believe. And I think they got the back-to-back. I think they got the two juniors, if I'm not mistaken.
You're absolutely right. They won the junior in 2009 and 2010. It was the Schuh brothers, Kelly and Corey, Scott Eaton, and Steve Moss, I believe, who rattled off those two juniors in a row.
And just as a side note to that, you said that Scotty Eaton played with him. And since 2010, he's been trying to get back to a junior or any kind of national, and he wasn't successful. And then last year he got to two.
He did. He got to two in about 3 weeks.
In
He
a
won
3 week
he won the
span.
mixed, I believe, and the
Clubs,
club championship
yeah.
with our former teammate Randy Turpin
Yes, that's right.
and our other former teammate Steve Tripp
Rut-
Rutledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is great to see, though, Mark, when you see guys like that who've been trying to get back for a long time and get those Newfoundland jackets. It's pretty special to be up at a national, no matter what level you're playing at.
Absolutely. Dave Thomas' team came around, made a good freeze, and the Schuh team's shot. But now Kelly's trying to just jiggle these around a bit. They're working on it. I think he's all over that guard. I don't know if the ice was tight or if he just got a little tight on release here.
So it looks like Dave is calling for the guard, Mark.
I think that's what you have to play. Thing about it, if you guard that right in the middle of those three, and you're still going to leave that tap for Schuh, then their shot rock behind the guard also. But I don't know what else he plays here. I guess you could play a hit on the top yellow one, just on nose or hair off the center on the low side, and make the double on the yellows on line 1-2. But if you roll an extra few inches, you could end up giving him a hit to come back and line 1-2 themselves. So this is probably an easier shot to get a better result.
And that blue is going nowhere, Mark. That one that's sandwiched in between those two yellows.
The only way to get that out is pick it clean.
That or put a stick of dynamite in the button and run for cover.
You can do that too. That can work on multiple levels.
So he has opted for the guard, as you suggest, Mark.
They got to get this to curl. It's coming. They're working hard now, trying to carve it over.
Really working that hard, Mark, and they've just got it over.
I think that pretty much covers the top one, but it's going to leave the. I think the Schuh squad can still see. From our vantage point, looks about at least half of the shot rock. And just pick it.
He can pick it, Mark, for sure. I don't know if he throws a board. Wait, I don't think he... Can he see enough of it to hold it to be second shot? I think that's really tough.
that's
I don't
really
think that's
tough.
there.
The easiest way to pick it is just throw weight at it. But if it ever curls, and it doesn't have to curl much, you pick your own clean. And then leaving them line 3, drawing in line 4.
Then you're in big trouble and you're facing a tall task on your last rock. I think they have decided, though, Mark, to go for the pick with that ice.
Yep, absolutely. He's coming with, hey, well, it's the easiest way to get it is to throw weight at it. So he's coming with that ice. I'm thinking he's coming with a bit of a heater. Whereas I like to call it the high hard one. I haven't been leaning on the brooms very much.
I think he's pretty close, Mark. It's a Good shot by Corey. Well done.
Yep. Picked it. Now you're leaving this shot for Dave Thomas here. Come down, hit quarter or half. You don't even need to keep your shooter. And hit a quarter or whatever with hack weight to get rid of the blue one, and you'll live 1-2. And force Team Schuh to take one.
Mark, we're right behind this sheet up here and high above the ice 3, and it looks like he can see a piece of that rock, and that's a pretty high guard. So I think he could throw like a bumper, even maybe a control up bumper sort of weight, and that guard shouldn't come into play.
I say you're looking at board weight here, because you still got to. When you're trying to bump one rack onto another rack, there's an energy loss on the transfer, the energy from one rack to the next. So I say you're going to need hack the board anyway.
Are working hard, Mark, and I think that's
He's
going to be on the guard.
All over the guard. I think he was just tight out of hand. How it looked to me. Was it going to give a draw for 2? Looks to me it's got to get close to the 4 foot, and they should be okay.
Almost a piece of the 4. You're absolutely right, Mark. And
2-ender in a tie game, a 2-ender is a big end. So they're looking for that second point here right now.
so this is a big shot, Mark. You know, when you have the hammer in these tight games, like you said, you always want to try to get the deuce. And guys really got to take advantage of this opportunity and try to get there too. But that looks like it's over curling to me, Mark, and pretty light.
That's not. He's not going to be happy with that. That not even close. So 1 point. A bit of a miscue by Team Schuh, and score after 3 ends is 2-1.
Yeah, we'll take 30 seconds, Mark, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. We're broadcasting live from the Remax Center, the St. John's Curling Club, and its 4th end action of this second draw of the 2025 Men's Newfoundland Tankard. Team Corey Schuh out of the Remax Center leads Team Dave Thomas out of the Gateway Curling Club 2-1. In the broadcast booth this evening, Steve Sporty Bragg alongside Mark Noseworthy.
Yeah, and 4th ender, Mike Mosier came in on his first one, and Dave Thomas elected to hit. And then Mosier just made a hit and stay, and He might hang it on to the edge, maybe not. Oh, he rolls out. So I think you're going to see Dave Towns put a corner guard up, and here he goes.
Mark, well, we got a pretty clean house here. We are into the fourth end. This is, I think, is my fourth year broadcasting games from the Tankard, and the quality of broadcast has just improved every year. In the booth tonight with us, we got our fine technical crew and Trevor Bartlett and Kevin Foley, who are showing you the rock clock and all these fantastic images. I was talking to Kevin right before the broadcast here, and they've put new cameras, installed them overhead on one of the sides of the sheets here, and plan to install them at some point in the near future on the other side of the ice. It's just a great production here. We've got people watching all across the province and across the country and outside of the country, vacationing or living wherever. So it's a pleasure to be able to bring this to you live from the Remax Center. And thanks to Kevin, Trevor, and the entire team for the great work that they're doing.
It's funny that you mentioned their support staff, because depending which one you talk to, it's the executive producer and his lackey, or the senior director and the hired help.
That it is, but guys are doing a fantastic job to be able to bring this to you at home. So there was a corner guard out there, Mark. Corey was trying to tuck one in behind, just bounced off it, and Dave has opted to, I think he's going to hit this and try to roll over into the open side, and we may see a fairly clean end again this end.
Yeah, the other option Corey had, you go to hit, where that was a tight corner guard, you go to hit that and roll into the rings on his own. But they decided to come around it. I think you're going to see Schuh hit that and probably try to roll back. Okay, he might play the double here. The ice is, compared to what we've seen most of the year here, the ice seems to be a little straighter tonight.
He is playing that double, Mark.
They got to hit about a quarter of this. Make it go away. There you go. Looks like a beauty.
It's a nice shot by Spencer Wicks.
Yep. Well, we got a game here with all pretty good 8 players, so we want to see a lot of rocks being made.
I wonder if Dave is getting in Spencer's ear a bit. Dave's a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Spencer's a Red Wings fan, so maybe he's getting in his ear about that. I don't know.
Well, my history, I mean, I could have gone a little bit for the Red Wings. Definitely can't go for Toronto.
Dave was telling me earlier he calls himself a long-suffering Leafs fan. He wants to see that Stanley Cup come home at some point.
Last time they won, I don't even think it was called the NHL, was it?
I don't know. I think it was 1967. Was it the last time that they won? Somewhere around there. Anyway, it's a pretty clean end here, Mark. Corey now is...
One of my favorite jokes. What's the difference between a cigarette vending machine and a Toronto Maple Leaf? The cigarette vending machine has players. So, anyway, that's my comedy moment for the night.
We might get a few emails or texts on that one.
Well,
anyway, Mark, it is wide open here now. No rocks in play as we play the fourth end of this second draw of the 2025 Men's Newfoundland Tankard. Probably a good time to update you as we go across the ice. Looks like Andrew Simmons got a 3 in the third end after blanking 2, and he's up 3-2 on Simon Perry. On ice 2, looks like Kenny Saunders is up 2-1 on Greg Smith as they play the fourth end. And on ice 6, it's a 1-1 tie between Nathan Young and Ty DeLello as they play the fourth. Mark Dave drew to the wing, and now Corey's just going to hit. We're probably going to see some trading hits and potentially a blank end here in the fourth end. And apologies on ice 2. Greg Smith is up 2-1 on Kenny Saunders.
This looks like it's going to be a pretty open end here. And I'd say right now there's nothing out front, nothing in play. I say Dave Thomas probably be happy just to take his blank and see what can happen in the fifth.
So marking an in like this, you got to stay pretty focused. I know there's not a lot of rocks in play, but when you get back in the hack, you got to make these hits. You don't want to flash a hit or something like that. And if you're Dave Thomas and you're going to be throwing the last rock at the end, you want to make sure you get that rollout. So although it is an open end, it's important to stay focused. And from Dave's perspective, he wants to get the blank in 4 here.
Yeah, there's not much going on this end. Instead of the number of rocks go. Probably going to be a good chance it's going to be a blank, or a blank, at least a blank opportunity. So Dave Thomas just trying to hit and stay here now. Might like to roll a couple of feet either way just to change the shot.
And Mark, we haven't mentioned it yet, but the winner of this championship obviously does go on to the Briar, and that Briar, there's a new sponsor as of last year, Montana's. So the winner here this week will be at the 2025 Montana's Briar, and that's going to be in Kelowna, BC this year.
It's a nice part of the country.
It is a good part of the country. We had a pretty good trip out there just outside of Kelowna in December of 2023 for the Canadian seniors in Vernon, BC, of which our technical crew, Kevin and Trevor, were also there, cheering us on, having a scattered beverage as they watch their significant others play in the ladies' championship.
I don't know if scattered actually sums it up.
But it was a great time out there. Fine folks out in Vernon.
So Schuh here now just trying to hit and stay to force Dave Thomas into a blank. But he wants to stay somewhere and just make Dave Thomas actually have to shoot it. You got Spencer Wicks now trying to hold the line here. Looks like it's going to be pretty close to right on the nose. Okay, so Dave Thomas is going to have a blank opportunity.
Yeah, and really nice shot there by Corey Schuh. He's kept it right in the middle of the ring, so Dave's going to have to zone in on this one and make sure he gets the rollout for the blank. Mark, they changed this team up, I'm going to say last year or the year before, and brought Mike in at third. And Mike's been a really good addition to this team, and his team is playing well. And we saw Mike out at the club championships in Corner Brook there in 2023, and he played exceptionally well out there.
He did.
In that spiel.
He's been around a long time and, got some experience and trying to work this now to hold the line. We can get the blank. And it's a blank. Nice shot by Dave Thomas. So Team Thomas retains the hammer, playing 4 in a 2-1 game for the Team Schuh.
We'll take a break and we'll be back in 30 seconds for fifth end action. Welcome back. We're broadcasting live from the 2025 Newfoundland Men's Tankard and its fifth end action. Team Corey Schuh out of the Remax Center leads Team Dave Thomas from the Gateway Club in Port aux Basques 2-1. In the broadcast booth this evening is Steve Sporty Bragg along with 1987 Brier semifinalist Mark Noseworthy.
Thank you for the introduction, Steve. I don't remember back that far anymore. Anyway, we're here in the fifth end. Roxon play early. Long guard up by Team Schuh and Mike Mosher just around it to the top of the 4 foot. So you're going to have Floyd Francis on try to get around and corner that.
I think that rock's got to move a lot, Mark.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty close. They want to try to lock it down as best they can.
It's getting pretty good there now.
That's a good shot. And as we say, we're off again.
It's a real nice shot by Floyd Francis. Mark, I mentioned that 1987 Brier where you guys had a great run. You know, a lot of these guys out here now, a lot of them grew up in the Gouju era and got into competitive curling. Some of us older guys were glued to our TVs watching that run that you had in '87. I'm sure the guys like the Dave Noftals and the Ken Pettigrews and guys like that were watching that. Ultimately, I think in the semifinal you lost to Bernie Sparks in a tight game, but it was a heck of a run that you guys had in '87.
We played pretty well all week that Brier week, and you get out of what you put into it, and we put a lot of effort into it, and had a good run.
You were touring a fair bit then and playing a number of spiels, I think, traveling around, which some of these young teams are doing now, but you were playing a fair number of spiels, I think.
Well, we had some good sponsorship. We were doing 8 or 10 spiels every fall, so you learn pretty quick. You're playing on tour what you need to do to win. Because if you don't learn, you're going to get hammered pretty much every single weekend.
Mark, Corey threw up a guard here, and now Dave is looking to get rid of a bit of that traffic up front.
Double these off here. Oh, okay. That's a good shot. Double off the front. Roll the shooter over.
Yeah, it's a real nice shot by Cody Parsons. Corey's now looking at a couple of different things. Mark, he initially tapped for a possible freeze, and then he indicated maybe a little hit and roll. What do you like here?
I like the guard myself.
Yeah, that blue's in
If this overcurls at all, you're going to jam it and kill your own. If it doesn't come up enough, you roll out or roll over. And that's good for Thomas because you're drawing the play away from the middle, which is where Schuh wants to play. So if he guards it, the play is still stays in the middle of the sheet, which favors Team Schuh. Looks like it's going to be pretty close here. That can hang on. Like two.
That's pretty close, Mark. I think yellow is second shot. It's very close.
Well, if yellow,
Oh.
if yellow is second, it's an opportunity for Dave Thomas to hit and roll behind that long guard. July 1-2, with a lot of separation.
I saw Dave put the two fingers up for two. I don't know if he meant that blue was line two or that they were second shot. But it looks from our angle to me that it's yellow.
I'm agreeing with that assessment for you. I'm looking at the same screen you're looking at, and it looks like it's yellow is second shot. So a big opportunity here for Dave Thomas.
And we played together for a number of years. I don't think I ever called one measurement right. So if you're agreeing with me now, it's probably a good sign that yellow is second shot.
What we got coming here?
It's pretty close on the double, Mark.
They're line two now.
No debate is right. That's a great shot.
I don't think, and it's sort of behind that long guard too. So I don't know if that was the call. Are we playing the double or the roll? I thought that just the straight roll was a better percentage. But regardless, the outcome is they're line two. Tons of separation. Now the thing here, we're going out a little farther here, so. Not sure how, we haven't seen any rocks out this far, so I'm not sure what we're going to see here in terms of how much movement we may get on this.
I think it's pretty close, Mark. Or they're even going to try to roll this under, I think, if they can.
I think he just knows that
Oh.
Dave Thomas is probably going to play the same type of shot, just that down weight. Now he's got more ice, a lot more ice than what. So I'm not sure how they released it. We can't tell from our vantage point. Maybe Kelly might have a little bit of a pop on his intern.
And these are the shots, Marky. Okay, if you don't get the roll, so be it, but you can't roll out. You got an opportunity here to score two in this end.
We're working on it here. Working on it. Okay, he's by. And he rolled a little inside. Now, are they going to play that same intern? Now it's getting a lot tougher now. There's been two racks in a row that have rolled in a couple inches each time. Big shot here for Kelly Schuh. Mike Mosher working on it. Got to the nose. That's 3 or 4 rocks in a row are really outstanding shots. Down weight, just trying to scrape by the guard and keep the shooter.
Yeah, Mark, you mentioned that Corey and Kelly won those back-to-back junior championships. Kelly actually in 2009 won the mixed championship with Matt Blandford, Steph LeDrew, and Jessica Moland.
Here we go. Names from the past.
A few names from the past, absolutely.
Big shot here from Mullins again. Got to keep the shooter here. Another good shot by Mike Mullins. Keeps Dave Thomas lying too, or down the skips rocks.
Yeah, real nice shot by Mike, and we mentioned that he's been a great addition to this team and made 2 really good rocks there. Mike is no stranger to the big moments. He's actually represented Newfoundland 9 times in national golf championships, so he's a pretty good golfer as well.
He's a good golfer.
Very good golfer.
Are you a good golfer as he is?
I am not.
Oh.
I did make the 1991 Canadian Junior Championship. I made the Newfoundland team. Mike Mosher reminded me of that earlier before the game because Mike played in the 2007 Canadian Junior Championship. He made the Newfoundland team. So, and I didn't fare overly well. I finished 138th out of 140. But I was there.
You weren't last. Okay. Corey never got to roll here. But I think their second shot, so I think Dave Thomas now is going to elect to draw.
I really like the draw, Mark.
Oh, you draw here now.
Yeah.
You put a really good draw in front of the tee line. You might be forcing Corey just to hit the open one. You don't want to take a chance of bringing 3 into play. So Dave basically just got to get this in the rings. The only way for him to give Schuh a chance here getting out of this end is if he comes long and gives Schuh probably play the freeze on us.
I'm with you. If he dead buries it, you know, a lot of this at this level is scoreboard management. You don't want to give up a 3-ender.
No.
So if he completely buries it, I think Corey goes over and hits the open one. I'm with you 100% on that.
Again, it was behind the tee line, even marginally. You see him play the freeze, and it takes a 2-ender out of play.
Mark, so it's the 5th end. Dave would really like to get the deuce here, and he's going back to throw his first rock. That's a lot of ice to bury in behind. Is he just playing open up maybe in the top 8?
Thing about it, you don't want to leave it open. Then if Schuh hits and rolls, he got 3 or 4 feet, then he'll end up being shot.
It feels like a lot of ice to me, but maybe not. Maybe he will get the movement.
And it's a long that hasn't crossed the center line yet. He's not light either. Now, if it's going to be wide open, you might as well bring it right back so you don't sit up the double.
Yeah, you want to bring it back even to that, Mark. You don't want to give Corey Schuh an out right now.
So he's not going to draw. He's going to hit and play a roll here. He can roll to the 12 foot and be shot rock. There's no double. That's too long, too flat. There we go. How did I know what he was going to do?
What?
How did I know what he was going to do?
It's a couple of years of experience curling in that body.
It's like a superpower.
Yeah, Mark, they're actually talking about rolling in behind the corner guard and his blue.
If you make a nice roll here and hang on to be shot, you're over buried. Dave Thomas might just have to drop for 1. Thing about experience, Sporty, when you don't have it, you don't realize you don't have it. And when you get it, you don't know how you can win without it. So that's the quandary you people face. Roll here would be ideal. They're trying to hold the line here. I don't. So it looks like it's going to be a hit for 2 for Dave Thomas going to the break. I always find it interesting. One guy plays a hit on one turn. The next team has the same shot, and they play a different turn. Now, some people have much more favorite to throw one turn or the other. But when I used to coach my junior teams, I used to tell them, not so much in the middle of the game, but especially in the first couple lanes, if one guy plays one turn and makes it, or you, whatever, don't guess on the other turn. Play what you know.
And Mark, this is the turn that you referenced in the third end, where we've seen it a couple of times stay pretty straight. So Dave's got to be careful here and make sure he puts a good release on this rock.
He hasn't. They're not working on it. They're working on it now. He doesn't have a ton of weight.
It's moving a fair bit. They're working it hard. I don't think they're going to hold. Oh, they may just hold it, Mark.
Not sure. We're going to have to take a look at that. Dave should shake the hand of the sweepers. If that's two. That was pretty quiet. He got it going, but I don't think he got it going. Looked like he was pretty good on the stick, but it just curled a lot.
Mike Mullins put his broom in the air, but I don't think Kelly is willing to give that up just yet, and he's calling for the measure.
Oh.
And this is a big point, Mark,
Big
to
point.
get the deuce going into the fifth end break. It'd be a big sign of momentum for Dave Thomas. And on the flip side, Corey and team would be happy with the force as they go into the fifth end with hammer.
If Dave Thomas only gets one, it's I remember I was told a long time ago by one of the best players here at the time, Joe Power, back in the early 80s, late 80s. He said, you want to win a lot of games, Mark, and you're going to skip, make your free points, your open hits and your open draws, and you'll win 90% of what you're playing. And so that's a big...
Yeah,
no indication of what happened here.
I think, Mark, it was blue when I saw the
Okay.
measurement.
Yeah.
So I think it's only one
That's a missed
for
opportunity.
Dave Thomas, and it is. So after 5 ends of play, our score in our feature game here on Ice 3 is Team Corey Schuh 2, Team Dave Thomas 2. We'll take a moment and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're broadcasting live from the Remax Center, the St. John's Curling Club, and it's Draw 2 action of this 2025 Newfoundland Men's Tankard. In our feature game, it's Team Corey Schuh and Team Dave Thomas. Tied at 2 in the broadcast booth, Steve Sporty Bragg along with Mark Noseworthy.
Well, we're back here now. It's a 16 all square, 2 apiece. So next 5 ends, we should see a beauty game. It's been a tight game so far. Couple of minor miscues. Dave Thomas had a chance trying to hit for 2 in the last end and just rolled a little too far and lost the measure. So that point, we don't know. That point may come back to haunt him.
So, Mark, Corey's off to a good start in this 6th end. He's got 2 pretty much dead frozen behind a center guard, and Dave's going to go up and peel that center guard. You never love to be peeling center guards when you're when you don't have the hammer.
Yeah, I know.
It's always a little scary.
Took a couple of good rocks for my Mike Mosier to get in behind. This is going to be pretty close. I think going to be pretty close, maybe. Oh, just over curl the last couple of feet. So the thing about that, where that shooter rolled too sporty, even if they put a guard on this, because those 2 blue rocks are frozen straight back, Dave Thomas can play an out-turn draw, be guarded, and there's no raise on the blue ones.
Did he call for the guard, Mark?
He called for the guard.
Okay.
With the hammer in this situation, I'd like coming in and trying to move him around, jiggle him around a bit. I'm not sure how much he can see. I think he can see a sliver.
It is a pretty high guard, Mark.
I think it's too late to go running the back.
Could play a board waiter. Couldn't he come down and just hit that and be dead frozen to it?
No, I don't like that either. I think if you try to get rid of one. Got a lot of voice, so you can't be playing much weight here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a lot of weight at all, Mark. Looks really light.
I thought he was playing a hit, so I don't know what to. Looked like it picked. They're all looking at the ace down there. So I'm pretty sure that's not what he wanted. No.
The bad news is, Mark, that
Team Thomas are in trouble, and there's a big advantage if Team Schuh can make this come around on the outturn and just stop it like the top of the 8-foot.
it'd be a tough position for Dave. You can't come deep on this, though, Mark.
That's an out.
Absolutely cannot come deep on this.
I like coming around on that outturn. That's what I would be playing, which is what the Schuh is going to indicate. And you don't, if he comes in to the top of the 4-foot, Thomas can come around and freeze to him and negate the 2 rocks at the top of the 8-foot. So you only want to come in here and bite that 8-foot. And basically what it does, it stops Dave Thomas' team from getting in there on that side. It takes that whole slide away.
This shot is going to show you how important it is to place your rocks and how important 2 or 3 feet can make in terms of.
They're working hard. They got to get a buy. They got to get a buy. Maybe the ice is starting to tighten up here, Sporty. That's a couple of rocks in a row now that missed by like a lot. Now, Dave Thomas got nothing on the in-turn. His only way to get out of this is to come around on that out-turn. And where Spencer looks at the shot stopped, there's no run back. So if you can get around into the 4-foot.
I know you as a skip, you always don't like that stagger out front.
I only like stagger if I can get around it first. Other than that, I don't like it. Too much grief come from it.
So Dave can really get himself out of this end, but it's really important for Mike Mullins to make this shot. Mark, I mentioned that we had been out at the 2023 seniors in Vernon, BC. Mike played a senior in Chilliwack, BC in 2019 with Gary Oak, Blair Fradgham, and Dennis Bruce. And I remember he was in here right before we were taking our trip, and he was telling me how great an event the Canadian Senior Championship was. And we were not disappointed when we went out. It was a great show that was put off by the Curling Canada and Everest, the main sponsor.
Well, for at that level, most of the players playing seniors keep themselves in shape because they're still playing competitively, and everybody's super experienced, and the level of play is really, really high. Big shot here. You got to get it by. They're working hard.
I think that's going to clank off the guard too, Mark.
Oh, this is 3 or 4 misses right in a row now. So I don't know if they're not. The ice has changed and they haven't picked it up. Advantage swings back to Schuh. They can get around now. Again, like I've already iterated a couple of shots ago. Get around to the top of the 8 foot here. It takes away that whole side, and they really got nothing on the intern side.
So this is the first rock for Kelly Schuh here in the 6th end. Kelly's an electrical engineering technologist at London Hydro.
He's by on this one. Had to sweep to make sure they got by, and now he's going to be. Look at that. Got some legs. Dave Thomas is going to work on it. Okay, swings back again, back to Dave Thomas' team. So I don't know what to say here, Sporty. There's been advantages. Just the pendulum is just swinging back and forth here.
Mark, when your opposition misses a shot, you always want to be able to take advantage of that, and neither team has been able to do that on these past couple of shots.
I'm thinking the ice has switched. It's changed up in the last end. Oh, it's a big shot here for Dave Thomas for some.
I think they're going to have to work this one to get it by as well, Mark.
It's going to be close. Boy, that's a beauty. That's a beauty. And there's no run back on that because the guards out front are staggered. You can't throw any kind of weight to move it. So that's a pistol shot. That's an end saver by Mike Mullins there.
That is a fantastic shot. And Mark, that was we timed that, and it was almost 15.5 seconds from hog to hog. And for the viewers out there, that's very fast ice. You know, you usually see it get up to 14 and a half. When you start getting over 15, that is pretty quick ice.
Well, these guys now, with the conditions today, start at first end is 12 or 13. They don't realize back when we started curling, or first end was like 7, hog to hog, and when it got light, it only got to 11. If it ever hit 12, we used to say, man, it was awful quick today, and we never ever saw 15. Now, that's, as my son would say, back in the day. And the young people now don't understand. The struggle was real.
And you say back in the day, we were talking about that last night after our game. Not only was it 11-second ice, you could hear the sound of the corn brooms beating off the ice, and they were 12-in games.
12-in games. I don't want to say how old I am, but when I started curling, Elvis was still in his prime. Anyway, Shoes had to go out. They got to try to jiggle up and open up the front a bit because they got no access here now.
Yeah, I don't think Mike Mullins could have put that rock in a better place.
That
was an absolutely perfectly placed rock.
Ooh. They had to get one of them off. Just missed it.
Mark, you could put up another guard, but if you really wanted to get aggressive, couldn't you come down and just freeze right to the face of your own?
Well, the thing about it now is you can see half of that yellow one, maybe a bit more than that. You hit that where those 2 rocks are frozen, you're probably going to hit the yellow one. I don't know if you'll get it out, but you'll move it out of the 4 foot.
So the guard is to play it at the Ropton 4.
So I think I wouldn't even come closer. I'd just drop it out anywhere over the hog line. Now, you're going to give them opportunity then to come around, I know, but so be it. Well, if you can curl and cross and just split the center line, you'll take away the double bump, and he'll probably have to try to run back again. But if you come deep here, he's only playing that run back.
So Dave is a perennial competitor in these provincial championships, but a big highlight for him, Mark, the last 2 years, the mixed doubles were in Port aux Basques, his home club, and he played the mixed doubles with his daughter Sarah, which he told me was a really special thing for him to be able to do that in the past 2 years.
They're working on this one coming down here now, Sporty. They got to get some movement here. They got to curl. They got to get close to that center line, or there's going to be an opening for Team Schuh. Every inch here makes a difference. That hole's wide enough to drive a truck through. Schuh's going to be playing the heater here. If you get through and hit a quarter rock, I think the yellow one is gone.
So, Mark, the yellow one is gone. You hit the quarter rock. Your shooter is gone. The blue that's going back is gone, and it's moved that yellow. But the one that's dead frozen is still there. So you absolutely could be lying shot rock after this.
The deuce might still be on. Thing here, he has to get through the hole here.
It's a big opportunity for Corey Schuh. And I think they're going to have to work that hard to get it by the guard, Mark.
That drag effect, I never thought he'd keep that second rock. And he hit, that's a really good shot. People don't understand how when rocks are frozen, the drag effect sometimes can be large. You don't realize how much, because the second rock takes on the same characteristics of the first rock and where you hit it, because of the energy transfer.
I agree with you, Mark. I did not see Corey Schuh lying too when he went back in the hack to throw that rock. So really a great curling shot by Corey.
Dave Thomas got his work cut out for him here now. He got to make a nice come around and tap it back. He has to get around. If he touches that guard, it's a 3-spot.
So, Mark, is he coming down and trying to just tap that out and stay under cover? Is he freezing?
I'd say with the ice he got, he's not freezing to it. I'd say he's coming down hack weight. Well, backline weight. He's only got a 1.5 feet of ice. So it's not, I wouldn't think it's a draw.
Can't give up the 3-spot here in the 6th end, though.
He probably can't see a whole lot from the hack.
Mark, this is a big shot in this game. We're in a 2-2 tie in the 6th end. As I noted, you do not want to give up 3 in this situation.
Rock's underway.
They haven't really laid a brush to this, Mark. Now they don't seem too concerned, Mark.
By the guard. Looks like a good shot. And he rolled a little bit. So I don't know if it might be accessible on both turns, but you got a lot more room on the in turn if you can get there. But that might be our advantage. It looks like it might even be a little tiny bit over curl on the guard. But now if you play the other turn, you got to navigate that port. So there's a shot here for 2, albeit a tough shot.
I think that was about as good as Dave could have done on that shot, Mark. He did get that flip inside, and he's making this a little challenging for Corey to get us to. But the shot is there. He's just got to have the right weight. Mark, with that ice, he's probably only playing about a hack weight or
maybe not even that.
Back
yeah.
line.
They're working on it. Oh, he was short. He's short. They just never had to wait to get by. Steal one for Dave Thomas.
That was a big shot by Dave Mark on the last rock. So
Now,
after
that hit and stay for two would have put him up two now. Instead he's only up one. So that point's coming. It's going to look an awful larger now, but still, it's a 1-point game. 3-2 after 6 for Dave Thomas, and we're going to take a short 30-minute station break, folks.
we're back here at the 2025 Newfoundland Men's Tankard, and we're broadcasting high above Ice 3 here at the Remax Center, the St. John's Curling Club. Our feature game this evening in this Draw 2 action has Dave Thomas out of the Gateway Curling Club in Port aux Basques, leading Corey Schuh out of the Remax Center 3-2 as we play the 7th end, and Corey Schuh has the hammer. Mark, this has been a very entertaining game so far.
It has indeed. It's a couple of chances have gone back and forth. And I think that last one, I think both teams got fooled on a couple of spots in the ice where the ice might have tightened up. And it cost Schuh, who had a chance to hang a 2 on the board, just got a little light and it overcurled a bit and he crashed on the guard, resulting in a steal and 1 for Dave Thomas. So that's how we got the score of 3-2. But now there's 4 ends to go, and you got to start looking at a bit of scoreboard management here now. But the main thing for Schuh, they're trying to put a couple of points on the board.
So Mark Floyd put up a center guard. Mike Mosher, the lead for Corey Schuh, came in and put it right on the top 4. Real nice shot. And then Floyd Francis executed a perfect freeze to that rock on the top 4, Mark. And Floyd actually knows a thing or two about ice. He's one of the ice technicians at the Gateway Curling Club. So he's obviously picked up the ice here because that was a great shot that he made.
Going to be another good rock here by Mosher. Down on top of it. It's all about getting the angles early. And for most of this game, both teams the 2 leads have been exceptionally well. Have played exceptionally well this game. And we alluded to that before the game started.
Yeah, it's a great shot by Mike, and this is going to be an interesting end. I was chatting with him before the game. He asked me if there was going to be any wrestling references. He told me his favorite wrestler from the 80s was the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. What do you got to say to that?
Well, in the words of Ric Flair, ooh-ah!
Anyhow, this is
I'm
shaping
not much
up.
of a wrestling fan.
It's
Go Sailor White. What was his tag team called?
I don't remember. That was before my time. Anyway, Mark, we got a great end shaping up here, and Cody Parsons, just threw a draw down there, froze to Mike's rock. So we got a lot of rocks in play here on the top of the house, Mark.
Again, there's a chance here now they can Get a little inside flip on this one. Just nice quiet weight. Anywhere from back line to board, somewhere in that range. You're working out here coming down, trying to hold that line. He got by. And where did the shooter go? Okay. Not bad.
Well, Mark, there have been 6 rocks thrown this end, and officially all 6 rocks are still in play. But now Dave is, I think he might have called
Hit and roll.
hit and roll.
Yep. And if it stays out a bit, you might even get the shot rock out of the 4-foot.
Get the double there, yeah.
But even if you don't make the double, but just get it out, get it out to the 8-foot somewhere. It's coming down now. They're not doing much with it. It must be pretty. I'm thinking it's pretty close. Okay. So no damage done there.
It's not a bad result for Cody. That's in a pretty good
Not
spot,
terrible.
Mark.
Not terrible. Looks like Corey's just trying to rearrange the angles here a bit now. Do a little triple tap, just like back 8-foot weight, back 4-foot weight, just to change them up a bit. The only rock really going to move here is the back blue one.
Yeah, he's not playing a ton of weight with that ice, Mark.
Sort of
So-
play like a back 4, back 8 weight.
Mark, we've seen a lot of rocks on this side of the sheet curl pretty hard. They're really working that one to get it by. This one might be a little lighter than they had planned. But there's a lot of blue in the top of the house right now.
No, well, it's the angle still probably favors Schuh in this situation here. So at some point, Dave Thomas is going to have to make a play on that shot rock. So I'm thinking just to come down, and you don't want to throw a lot of weight in case you ever pick the second shot, knock it out in the open. Then you got a real problem.
Mark Davis talking about a guard on this and maybe running for his life for to only give up 1 point. What do you think of that play?
Well, you got a couple of options here. If he plays the guard here, which he's indicating there now, Schuh's going to draw around it. Probably the light too, if he can make it. So, and then there's no hit then for Thomas because he's guarded it. Well, what he'll have left then is a tap on his own on the right-hand side to the 4-foot. So, you're living dangerously, but that might be what you have to do.
So, Mark, I just got a text from our club manager, Harold Walters, and I know it's her birthday because I wished her a happy birthday earlier. She works at McInnes Cooper, and the firm that I work with is owned by McInnes Cooper. But happy birthday to Adrienne Mercer. It is her birthday today, and she'll be down here tomorrow. She and her team, Sarah Hill and company, Sarah Boland, will be chasing a Scotties championship as the ladies start play tomorrow. So happy birthday, Adrienne.
Happy birthday to Adrienne.
Everyone at the curling club.
Anyway, it looks like we just got our first pick. Mullins was playing a guard, and that must have picked up a little. But now it's changing turn, I think, to go back the other way, so he might still be okay.
Wow. That went from a bad turn of events to some good fortune because that's almost right where they wanted the rock to end up.
So that's pretty fortunate.
And it's a tough double on those two. I think, Mark, maybe if you hit it pretty thin, you can double them off, but they're pretty much side by side.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to call this here. I missed the call. You're going to open up the front, by the looks of it.
I still think, Mark, they're going to try and clean up the front here.
Not a bad. He wants to make sure he's trying to get two here. So we can open this up. And now, I don't know if they're side by side, it's going to be hard to get the shooter out of the way. If they're even slightly staggered, you can spin the shooter up and maybe over a foot or two. Coming with a bit of weight here. Yeah, that's a good shot. Good shot there. Look, that's a shot made possible by the weight. Look at how that shooter reacted. One rock slightly, and when I mean slightly, even like a half an inch or an inch higher than the other one, and he hit that one first, and you get that spin rotation. That was a good shot by Kelly Schuh.
Yeah, it was a real nice shot, Mark. And now he's going to put the guard up there, but he's got to be careful where he places this because I think if Corey gets a chance to access that blue on his next rock, the top blue, he's going to start trying to shake those around a little bit and jar that yellow loose. So you got to be careful in terms of where
this
you
line looks
put
like
the
it's going to
guard.
be pretty closer. Coming over the hog line. That's just tight. I don't want it even. Could be a little tight. He might be playing a run through. If they hit it right back, the yellow, the second shot is probably going to squirt a little bit in the open. No, I think they're playing the yellow here.
I think, Mark, the call was actually, you could play the run back like you said, but I think they're trying to hit the inside of this yellow and maybe jiggle around those blues and try and unlock that yellow. And there'd be 4 blue rocks versus only 1 yellow one, and that'd be a lonely yellow in the house.
No. That's what you call having your ducks in a row.
I don't think he quite got the action of the blue that he wanted, but it is 4 versus 1 in the house, and it's a little scary situation for Dave Thomas.
Well, I don't think, even if you blast that back, you got to pile drive that top one straight back, and that yellow is not going to move. You might get it at most a foot. Like it's not going to go anywhere.
So is he just playing another guard, Mark?
I'd be playing. It wouldn't be me. I'd be playing around to the back of the 4 foot.
I guess if you could tuck it in behind all of that,
Yeah.
back 4, that's a pretty good spot to be in.
With that ice, he's not playing the guard. I think he's playing to come around. Maybe he's playing. I don't know.
I think he's playing
He's
the guard,
playing
Mark.
with that weight. He's probably just playing the guard.
Like you said, Corey's got a lot of work to do to unlock that yellow and get that out of here. So
I don't think they got enough rocks left to do anything with that yellow. I think now they got to draw around the light too. I think it's too late in the end. You only got 2 rocks left. You want to try to get 2 now with just what's called a skip's deuce. So where do you put your first rock to give yourself a shot?
they seem to be talking about, Mark, maybe leaving it in the top 8, so they might be able to have a play on that to do something with the yellow on the last rock.
Well, if you're not second shot, Thomas guards it. And then you're drawn to the pin for 1 or for 2. You're still going to have a shot, or Thomas might play the out turn and come around.
I think what he's concerned about, if he comes to the back 4 behind all of that and gets to the back 4, if Dave comes down and sits on it, it could be another steal. But that may be his best option to get to.
It may be. I think you waited 1 rock too long to try to generate how to move them out of the middle.
Yeah, hindsight being 2020, maybe instead of that in and off, it was time to pound that yellow back into the pile of rocks there and get things moving around a bit.
Yeah.
Mark, it looks like they're throwing one out to the wing there, and maybe they're looking for something to give themselves an in off on the last rock.
Well, you're throwing a rock to the 12-foot that you might use, but for you to use it, the other guy has to miss completely. Like that's not going to be a recipe for success in most curling games. I'm sorry. Now, that's a perfect spot to come in off and try to get rid of that yellow. If I was Dave Thomas, I'd forget that and I'd draw around on the out turn.
And that's what they're talking about. Mike is laying his broom there, trying to get right back for there.
I wouldn't even
Back
come
button.
on that. I wouldn't even play on that side where that rock is. I'd play the same side he just played on his first one. And that's sort of what they're indicating there now. Yeah, there you go. Even if he gets it to the 8-foot and he's deep, the most Schuh's going to get is only going to be 2. The only way they're getting more than 2 here is if he's through the rings or short of the rings. Other than that, that first rock he threw is useless. No, first time out.
So, Mark, yeah, they're going to take the time out here and talk about this a little further. Mike seems to want to play the draw.
I think the draw is the best shot. And it doesn't have to be made perfect. Right now, you don't want to have him, you want to keep him away from coming off his only just throw or just through for a big end. So how do you do that? You don't even play on it. If he plays over and hits and stays, the shot is still there. He could hit and roll in 2 feet and freeze the corner, freezes the yellow. That is still there for a big count. Hit and roll a foot to the outside. It's still there. Don't even play on that side. Play the out turn and draw.
And you've probably got a bit of space there, Mark. You got from about the T line, top 4 to back. Yeah, like you said, even if it's biting back 4 or even in the back 8 and it's nullifying a couple of those.
The thing you got to remember, Schuh is shot. So the best way to stop him from a big end is make yourself shot. Then you're 1 and 3. He can throw this where he's shot rock. He's 1 and 3. So the big end is gone.
And at this stage of the game, you don't want to be giving up a 3
The
or
only
4
thing
ender.
I would play on that side is I would throw a guard out. But then you're still giving Schuh a draw for 2. So I'd draw out turn to be shot rock. You're lying 1 and 3. There's no big end. You might give up 2, but don't like this over here at all. You could make it and it's fine, but a lot can go wrong. A lot can go wrong. It looks to me like he's playing a hit.
Yeah, and if you put it in the wrong place, Mark, you might leave a double for Corey for a bundle.
Well, if he hits it and he rolls like 2 feet, it's an easier double for Schuh, and that could be for 5.
Yeah.
This is a huge shot. Huge shot here for Dave Thomas. Trying to avert big end and disaster.
Yeah, Mark, I really like the draw. I have to say, I would have liked to see him come back 4, but we'll see where he puts this. Like you said, this could be a big shot in terms of the complexion of the rest of this game.
Well, they're working on it hard here. And ooh.
Kind of what we talked about, Mark. Is that shot there to make the double for?
I think that's there all day. Double for 5. Can we get? If they ever move out the way, we see what we're talking about. It's definitely there.
And you are going to see some heat on this, Mark.
Well,
Corey.
you don't need heat on it. You just got to, if you hit what you see, you only got to hit 90% of it, or 90%. You're not rolling. You won't roll out, and you'll pick it clean. I think that was the wrong call, and giving Schuh here a shot for 5. This is a game-winning shot right here, folks.
We talked about Dave Thomas got a 5-ender in the 9th end earlier to go to an 11-6 victory over Ken Pettigrew. He might give the 5 right back if Corey Schuh can make this shot.
They're off it. There you go. 4. Well,
So, Mark, that is a big shot in terms of this game. Corey Schuh's just scored 4 in the 7th end, and it's going to take a 6-3 lead to the 8th end.
yeah, well, that was a strategic mistake by the Thomas squad. If you're asking my opinion on that one.
So, Mark, we'll take 30 seconds, and we'll be back for 8th end action.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We're broadcasting live from the Remax Center, the St. John's Curling Club, and we are in the 8th end of this feature game on Ice 3, and a big turn of events in the 7th end, Mark. Corey Schuh scored a 4 and now leads Dave Thomas 6-3.
Yeah, that was a big end, big 4 spot that Team Schuh hung on the board there. It never looked like that was going to happen, but it looked like a bit of a strategic error by Team Thomas to give Corey Schuh the opportunity to make an absolute pistol. And he made the most of the situation and put 4 on the board, and now has a 3-point lead playing 8.
So, Mark, now Dave Thomas is going to be all in. He's not afraid to leave a pile of rocks in play. He's got to try to generate at least a deuce here in the 8th end he'd like to get. And, Mark, while we have a minute, let's go across the sheet to update the viewers. Over on sheet 1, Andrew Simmons, defending champion Andrew Simmons, has a 7-2 lead on Simon Perry as they play the 8th end. On sheet 2, Greg Smith has a 5-2 lead over Kenny Saunders as they play the 7th end. And over on sheet 6, Ty Diello is down 1 now to Nathan Young. Nathan has a 4-3 lead as they play the 8th end.
So all the games outside of one game, all the games are pretty tight. And just glancing across the sheets, Steve, lots of nice rocks being played out here tonight.
Yeah, I said it before earlier in the broadcast, Mark. There's a lot of good teams in this Tankard this year, and we're in for a great week of curling, an exciting week. And particularly with this triple knockout format, it's going to get very intense as we get deeper into the week. And looking forward to some very high caliber curling here at the Remax Center, the St. John's Curling Club.
Some good sweeping there, boys, to get that by.
So Dave Thomas is now facing 3 blue counters, but the good news, Mark, is he's got a few rocks in play, and rocks in play are friends right now when you're down 6-3.
Yeah, he's just trying to play a little hit and roll here. He doesn't have to get the blue rock out, just push it to the back of the rings and something that you can freeze to later, or the other team might get a jam.
Yeah, I really like Mark if he just came down and tapped this back a couple of feet, maybe flipped in a couple inches and created a little wall there at the back of the 4-foot.
Got a little roll inside. It's not a bad shot. Oh. Like I said, like you said earlier, Sporty, Dave Thomas was just looking for 2 here. Statistically, down 3 after 7, the odds are pretty low that you come back to win these types of games. Getting 2 to make it a 1-point game after 8, your odds have gone up dramatically, but still not good. Generally, when you give up a 4 spot somewhere along the way, is not good.
It's not good, is right. And he did play the hit on that, Mark. He could have just come down and tapped that back house. Still a real nice shot, but he could have just created a wall there. Keeping rocks in play, as we said earlier, is key when you're trying to generate offense.
Well, every other point this end was all 5 singles. And then you got this 4-ender. So a deuce in a game that's tight is a big end. A steal of 1 in a tight game is a big end. A 4-ender is, when you're looking at the scoreboard here, it just jumps right off the board at you.
So Spencer Wicks was coming down. I think he was trying to play that yellow, and he picked out his own rock, Mark. So an opportunity now for Dave Thomas to tuck in behind that corner guard, and the deuce is in play then.
He wants to get in behind that corner. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just got to be somewhere in behind. It can be high, it can be low. It doesn't really matter. Looks like it's going to be pretty close here. They have to get it in. They got to get it in the ring somewhere. Going to be close, I think.
I think it's going to come up light, Mark, unfortunately.
Well, still, there's enough rocks left. That's still not the end of the world. But what it does, it forces, because of where that yellow rock is and the blue one behind it, it forces Schuh to hit it on the left-hand side. So depending where they roll, Dave Thomas still might be playing to come around on the next shot.
So, Mark, is he just trying to hit this and roll to the open side? Or
He
pick
is.
it out completely?
No, just trying to hit and roll to the open side. Looks like I don't know if he's going to hang on here. No, I think Dave Thomas is going to have he got a couple options here. Come around, or he could even play the freeze. Because if you play a good freeze, Schuh's probably going to blast it, kills everything, then you come around. But then you keep the blank, it's still an option. But when you think about it, you're down 3 playing 8, you've really got to get around the corner guard. Now, to me, I'd like the intern come around the corner. Because there's more finish on that turn than there is on the out turn. So you can get by that guard on the intern side by a foot and be sunk by the tee line. It's a lot harder coming down in this out turn. You don't get the same kind of finish. You got to go to get it by.
Yeah, Mark, on that intern, we saw...
You got to go to get it by. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Oh, they scraped it by.
It's a great shot, Mark, and the deuce is still in play.
I think it's probably half open. If that had to come another 1.5 feet, you'd probably be sunk. But like you said, there's not the same finish on that out turn here.
Yeah, you mentioned the intern, Mark. We in an earlier end, they were playing a couple of hits down there, and they were getting pretty good finish with the hit weight. So there definitely would have been good finish with the draw weight, I think, if they had opted for the other turn. So, Mark, with that ice, I think they're playing the either or, are they? Maybe you clip the one that just came in, or
I'm
you take the corner guard.
either or. I say he's throwing some weight at this also, and if they can hold up the sweeping, that little pop on release.
I think that's going to take the guard, Mark, and it does. So, Mark, that they did take the guard. That rock is now fairly exposed. Dave is talking about another guard. He's talking about a tap.
Well, the thing about it, if they had played the intern on the on Mulligan's last rock, and he gets a bit of finish, if they peel the top guard, it's still probably 3/4 guarded by the second one. If you peel the tight one, it's totally guarded by the top one, so you can come around the guard again, line two, buried. Well, coming that side, it was half open. He peeled the guard. Now it's totally exposed, but they don't want to leave him. I'd sweep that. Try to get some separation out. That don't have a ton of weight in it. And you don't want to give them an easy double.
You don't want to give them an easy double because these guys, the Schuh brothers, are really good hitters.
Yeah.
So that's playing right into their hands and
No, that's not.
just a shade off nose. And man, Mark, there's no way that top yellow when it hits the yellow, it doesn't come back on the blue, does it?
I don't. Well, it's possible, but
I think they are looking at that and have a little bit of concern about it, Mark, that it could jam.
well, I think the only way to get it over the top, you got to chunk it, which means you might not get it out. So that's the quandary that they're in.
Yeah, and I think there's what they don't want to do is hit it on the high side and plug it right in behind that corner guard on the yellow and the 8-foot.
So they're going to have a go at it. He's going to be throwing the heat. I say he needs to hit half to go over the top.
So they're just giving it a gentle dust, Mark.
No, he hit half. That's a good shot. I think if that curls when we hit it too thin, I think it comes off at lower angle. It might jam on the back one.
Dave still
to
does
make
have
that-
that corner guard, though, Mark.
So I got the corner guard, but to make that you hit half, but if you don't throw a peel weight hit, where you're hitting so much of the second rock, it just sort of ends up in the 8-foot or something. You might go across the top, but you're not going to get it out. So you got to be able to throw it fairly firmish. How's that for a word? I'm not even heard that one's
impressive.
that one's not even in the Newfoundland dictionary. Firmish.
Firmish.
It might come after. It might come after back upable. I know that's in there.
So, Mark, if there's going to be a deuce in this eighth end, it's going to be a skips deuce. Dave's going to have to make two nice rocks to score two, and he's going to have to start off by burying this come around to give himself a chance to get the deuce. Mark, you know, we're above the ice here, and it gets pretty intense out there in our local Super League, but you can really feel the intensity. Out there on the ice. The Tankard is just at another level, and we're only in day one, and it is going to be an exciting week here.
I think they say, sport, there's a certain electricity in the air. It looks like Dave got a little wide on this one. He's going to be pretty much wide open for Corey to hit this and lie two and force Dave into one, which is not what he would have wanted.
So, Mark, just on your use of the English language, firmish has been confirmed by our technical director as meaning somewhat firm. So there you go. You learn something new every day, folks.
Yeah, that's what you get when you have a senior producer. Or no, wrong, an executive producer. He can haul those things out of the hat.
That's right. Anyway, Mark, it looks like Corey's going to have a shot to. He's got this rock from Dave is wide open, and if he makes this, Dave's going to have to make a nice draw or hit for one, and the deuce will not be in play.
So Dave's going to have to take his one.
And it's a long road back for Dave, but if he gets his one mark, it is the free guard zone. You can get some rocks out in front in the ninth end, and you never know.
Well, down 3, laying 9 without the hammer, he's going to have to steal 3 points. So it's it's a big uphill to climb. And, it can be done. I've seen it done. And, but the odds are pretty low. The odds in that situation, the odds are probably down in the single digits from a technically speaking point of view.
Well, he's got to make this one first, Mark, and he's opted to just draw a full 4-foot to get the point and make it a 6-4 game.
And when I say technically speaking, I mean somewhat technical. They're working on this one, Sporty. And I think that, as we like to say, the jig is up.
Yeah, that's going to be a steal of 2, Mark, and it's now an 8-3 lead for Corey Schuh, and it is handshakes.
Handshakes all around. And started off as a great game and went downhill 2 ends.
Yeah, Mark, it just the 4-ender really busted the game open, but it was an entertaining game.
It was indeed.
And so in an 8-end final, it's Team Corey Schuh 8, Team Dave Thomas 3. We're going to sign off here for tonight on behalf of Mark Noseworthy and our technical crew, Kevin and Trevor here in the broadcast booth. Thanks for joining us this evening. So long. Stay tuned for lots of broadcasts as we go through the week. Have a great evening.